Hello, hello, hello. This is Adrienne, Capricorntigress of Astrology, a Look Inside. And I am here today with several amazing spiritual entrepreneurs, wonderful guests that are going to be here with us today. We have Allyn, Reid, Bernadette Gold, Joyce Wheeler, Clarissa Bernardi. I know, Bernardini. I hope I said that. So I want to thank all of you for being here with us today. This is going to be an exciting time. We're going to talk about each of your careers and what got you started and what motivates you. And we'll talk about some other things along the way as well. So what I like to do is go in order of the name, alphabetical order. Since we have four guests here, we're going to do that. So we'll go around, and that means that we'll start with Allyn Reid. Let me see. I think I've got notes on you. Is it Allyn or Allyn?
Allyn.
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 Allyn. Okay. And she had sent me back some information on her, and it says, I'm on a mission to build soul literacy and humanity. She's passionate about books, beauty, and impact. And she possesses a curiosity about the origin of ideas, the motivation of people, and sensibilities of cultures. She enjoys assisting others in reaching their full potential and being an amplifier to their missions. And she has here, if you got a rocket, I can create the foundation you can launch from and land on. Maintenance is not really my thing. Strategy, visioneering work, and growing creatively is my sweet spot. I love that. I love that. Allyn, tell us more about you and the work you do in the visioneering. That sounds amazing.
I first, I'll do it all from the soul. So I'm highly focused on re-engaging the soul being, the soul entity that we are all first and foremost, the foundation of our existence, each of us, and re-engaging that into people's lives. And that goes all the way beyond, personal inner work and all that kind of stuff, all the way to missions and what you're supposed to do while you're here and life purpose and all of that. So
that's amazing. And I can tell you this, I'm always amazed by the people who get it early because I've been on this earth for a long time, and I'm still looking. I'm always still looking for the secrets of life and what can make us happy while we're here. Here's something I saw that was very interesting about you. You said you're the first Filipina to summit Mount Kilimanjaro.
Yep, in 2010.
That's amazing. Was that a life goal or
it wasn't. It was an invitation that was extended to me by an adventure group. I didn't even know what a Kilimanjaro was, and I was like, okay, I'll say yes. And so it felt like I should say yes, so I said yes. And I just have this knack for forging forward without a blueprint, if you will. And I realized that's because I'm willing to start from like on the soul level versus my mind and my fears and my feelings or my heart or any of that stuff. So
love that. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Also, you're the producer of Wishman, a movie about the life of the Make-A-Wish founder.
Yes.
Wow.
He's a great man. He passed 2 years ago, but we were friends for many years. And he had such an inspiring story, granting everybody's wishes. And his one wish for himself was to have his story told. And so at the time I had published his book. And so I figured, well, we can start with the book and figure out how to make that into a manuscript and eventually turn it into a movie. And it took about 7 years. That ended up going into Cannes, Toronto Film Festival, all making the circuit. It was in theaters, Netflix, and I think right now it's on either Amazon Prime or Hulu or both.
I'm going to go look for it. I've got both of those. I'm going to look for this. It's amazing. And you're also the founder of Secret Knock Conference, of Forbes must attend event for entrepreneurs. Can you tell us about that?
So that was created when I noticed that entrepreneurs tend to be alone. They're not necessarily lonely, but they are isolated. The entrepreneurial journey is a unique one. And as I traveled for my son's father, he was an author, and I would notice people just sort of being on their mission, focusing on their companies, had tons of people relying on them, payroll and families. And but for themselves, I noticed they don't have anybody really that they can be soundboards with and share like what they're going through. And so I decided to bring them all together. And it happens twice a year. Actually, this year it only happened once, but no, twice actually. Yeah, no, it ended up being twice. We ended up having a women's event last month, so it did end up being two. But yes, it's twice a year. Content community. We have amazing speakers who come, and people come to be with their people.
That's amazing. I love everything I'm seeing here. And she says she's also affectionately referred by friends as Dr. Fury. I collect friends with superpowers. I love that. That is awesome. That is awesome. So that's like your superpower, your super gift, to collect friends.
That is it. I mean,
Awesome.
in the business entrepreneurial world, before I came out of the woo-woo closet, if you will, I would have smaller gatherings during the Secret Knock events of like the healers and people who invented, amazing machines for healing, and we would have like these healing parties in my living room. And so I realized everyone who'd come into Inner Circle had a superpower, whether they had healing hands or they can see towards the future, they all kinds of talents. So it's being shared, helping each other, support each other energetically as we prepared for events. So yeah, that's where one day somebody went, you're like Dr. Fury. All of us are weird. Like we all do something really strange and like you like it.
I love it. It's so funny. After doing this, this podcast for several years now, I've come across so many amazing women. All of you, oh my gosh, I'm enthralled with all of you. I want you to know that. And I've had several of our guests, they've gone on to do TED Talks and all these different things they've done. And I'm like, it's amazing. We all have these different superpowers and they're all out there. I'm always amazed at who is attracted to come on the podcast because you're always so amazing. And this is no different. Allyn, it's so amazing to meet you. Thank you. I feel blessed that you're here. And Bernadette, I am going to pick on you next because your name begins with B.
Hello.
Thank you for your patience, you guys, as we go through each of you and get people to know who you are. So Bernadette, let me see if I've got some information on you. I'm not sure. I do. I've got some information on Bernadette right here. And Bernadette is the author of No Nonsense Clairvoyant Medium, an author, spiritual teacher, a master healer, and consciousness leader and coach, facilitating rapid breakthroughs that create insights leading to quantum leaps in health, happiness, and prosperity. Okay, that's amazing. She runs a successful practice using her skills and spiritual gifts to guide successful high achievers to their highest path and purpose connected to spirit. Okay, Bernadette, you've got to tell us how you help people to do this, because even I struggle with all of that. And you must come across people who are in the struggle. How do you help them to get out of that struggle?
So I do groups and then I also do one-on-one, but in my year-long program, I help those by teaching them universal law, how to align to it in the most simple way, because I believe everything has to be simple and applied daily. We remove all the fears, all the past traumas on a deep level, on a permanent level, not just sticking band-aids or trying to avoid the things that we're afraid to face. We dig up all of that, handle it, and then get the ego under control. And then in that place, then the intuition opens up. as their guide, which we all have, right? We all have our own gifts, but most people have never been trained how to use them. So that's the second half of what we do. And in that process comes the natural ability to do high level manifesting because you're living within universal law. So
I'm ready
it's
to come
fun.
and join whatever you're doing
It's
right
fun.
now.
We have
You said
amazing
high-level manifest.
breakthroughs, you know, and we have health breakthroughs, like big health breakthroughs, healing tumors. We had one lady a few years back that healed, she was having a biopsy on the table with the doctors and had been in my program for almost a year. And they were taking the biopsy, see if it's cancer. And she shrunk it while they were trying to get the biopsy. They're like, we don't know what's happening here. She goes, no, don't worry about it. I got it. But she was watching the screen. So she was able then to just put energy into it and get rid of it.
That's incredible.
Yeah. We have breakthroughs like that. We had one woman come in, like having all kinds of problems from a car accident. She made $600,000 in the first 7 months, not from income. And she was desperate when she came. She's like, you're my last hope. Like, not a lot of pressure there. Like, okay, let's do it. I know it'll work if you work it, but you got to do the work. And she put everything aside, did the work on herself, and things just opened up in this miraculous way.
Oh,
So,
that's
yeah.
amazing.
It's fun to watch. Like, I am honored to be a part of people's lives when they come in and watch them physiologically change, emotionally grow, and come into their own power. It lights me up.
So do you feel that those of us who have a block, because I feel that I have a block, I know I have a block, I deal with it a lot. I do my own spiritual things and I'm like, but why am I not healed? Like, what's that? So do you feel that people who are not manifesting their greatest potential, is it because of a particular block that they've got within them?
It can be several, and most of the time it's unconscious, it's unknown. So we've got to figure out where that came from. It's not as hard as you think. Like, I have a whole process that Spirit took me through in my 20s to heal a bunch of things. And when I was able to get through it, it took several years before I was willing to teach it. And one of the reasons was just my resistance to do anything with my gifts, because I'd been taught at a young age, this is evil. We don't do that. We don't talk about it. We don't let anyone know about it, you know, and in my 20s, I was asked to step in and start using my gifts. I'm like, okay, well, teach me how to this, teach me how to that. I need the money. I was a single mom, was coming out of recovering from my daughter at 3 years old being molested. And I was pretty angry. And they're like, step in. And I'm like, then show me why all of this has happened. And they showed me my responsibility, my part in it, her part in it, past life, healed all of that. And then things just opened up and I began to use the process that they were teaching me. And when I finally nailed it, several years later, I wrote a book and then started teaching it.
Wow. So you also wrote a book. What's the name of your book here? I don't
not that book. I just
Okay.
released my memoir last year called A Crooked Path to a Charmed Life.
Ah.
Yes. And that's available everywhere. Audio, ebook, paperback. So
If you can put that in chat, I'm going to make sure I put in the links on YouTube when we're done so that people can get a hold of that.
And I'm just going to put my website with the book page because that's the easiest place wherever you buy your books. Because some people don't like Amazon. So, yeah.
Okay, fantastic. And I'm also, you guys, I'm going to share the link to this event here, this particular event, because I think someone had asked for that. This is the actual event. So if you want to share that as we're live here. So Bernadette, that's fantastic. And especially about writing a book and the fact that you can help people. I'm sure we're going to come back and talk to you more about what you do. In the meantime, we're going to move on to Clarissa Bernadini down there. Thank you, Clarissa, for your patience. While we go through each one of you and introduce you all. And I don't think I picked up your information. So you might have sent it, but I don't have it in front of me. So I'm going to have you go completely cold here and tell us about who you are, what you do, and what brought you to the podcast today.
All right. So first of all, sorry, my screen is weird and foggy. I don't know what's going on with that right now, but whatever. So basically, my career that I've chosen so far is I'm a teacher, and I was a special education teacher. Well, I am, and up until this past year, I was dealing with like a lot of trauma and behaviors and kids who have been, really severely abused and taken from their homes. Um, so with that, obviously that's really hard on your emotions and your soul and things like that. And I hadn't actually even really gotten into, as you guys said, the woo-woo stuff. I didn't realize, I knew I had, experiences in my life and whatever, but really fast it happened. I'm now actually a psychic medium, doing readings and things like that professionally. I also am a pranic healer, which is an energy healing, which is similar to Reiki, just a little different, but it's really powerful. It's been really life-changing for me. So I'm still teaching right now because I feel I'm not done that path yet. And I'm also a photographer. I have 3 kids now. I just had a baby 2 months ago. So
Wow.
yeah, but but I'm really focusing now on the psychic mediumship because I feel really called to do that now. I kind of had, I guess, a new awakening where I feel like it's another level where I just all of a sudden felt this urge to do this and a need to do it, and eventually do it full time and not teach anymore. I don't know when exactly that will be for myself, but and spread the word about pranic healing as well. That's very important to me. That's part of my mission. And it's just been a really interesting transition to that, just because it was very sudden. And before I thought about it and I was like, I kind of want to do this, but then all of a sudden it was like, nope, this is what I need to do. And part of that also is, wanting to spend time with my kids and stuff, but it's just, since my son was born, really, it's been like a new fire, I guess, to do this work. And that, I guess that's one of the reasons I was drawn to this podcast, is because I really want to talk about, not a lot of people know about pranic healing and the amazing things it can do for people and the amazing things it has done for me in my life, or just, energy healing in general. So I think that's what I was kind of pushed to do this for, to talk a little bit about.
Fantastic. And we're definitely going to talk a little bit more about the prana healing and the energetic healing. I'm actually a sacred soul light healer myself, and we do the alignments. So it's a little bit different than what you do, but I want to talk a little bit more about that and share more about you. And in the meantime, share your, you got a website, put your information in chat. That way I can share it later with our viewers. In the meantime, I'm going to move on to Joyce so we can find out about Joyce, because she's been so patient as I introduce everybody. So Joyce Wheeler is here, and I think I do have a little introduction on Joyce Wheeler. And Joyce sent over some information. She's providing others with products that are created with intention. I love that. She's homeschooled 3 children. She had them naturally. She's an empath, a green witch, a writer, a podcaster, and a nature lover. She loves helping others and helping to create a better world. I love that. And she says she does it for the right reasons and not greed. I love that. Also, she does a free event on Saturdays where they talk about various subjects of holistic health and a free checklist for a better quality of life holistically. And she says, while holistic health may not seem like a spiritual topic, it is. It is. It incorporates a variety of spiritual aspects, such as energy work, meditation, working with crystals, plants, using one's intuition, divination, and doing things with intention. So Joyce, I love that you said that several times. doing things with intention. Tell us a little bit more about that and how you kind of got to that place of doing things with intention. I love it.
It was when I first started formulating skincare products. Actually, the instructor that I was working with, she actually encouraged us to do that, to actually formulate the products we were making with intention. To, you know, it's kind of like saying a little prayer, you know, or incantation, whatever you want to call it, whatever you're comfortable with. So that's how it got started. I also brew kombucha. So I do the same thing with that while I'm pouring it out. I keep repeating over and over again, health, happiness, and healing, because the water can be programmed. It has a vibrational frequency, just like everything does. So I love being able to put that into my products, knowing that not only is it going to help them with their skin issues or their gut microbiome, but that it's doing a whole lot more for them than just what's on the surface.
That's beautiful. So you actually make, you said skincare products, kombucha. And so do you sell them internationally, or how does that work?
No, just in the US, it's too complicated to get the legal aspect stuff, and not only that, but it's more expensive for us to ship out. So it's just in the US. And I have two very unique things about my products, because, you know, when you do something like skincare products, you have to stand out.
Yeah.
So I actually infuse all my liquids with a mineral called shungite. It comes from Russia. It's said to have all the medicinal properties and all the energies of all the crystals. It's in the carbon family, so it's used to purify water. So, and it binds all the medicinal properties of any product that I make. It binds them together.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And then some of the products I actually use kombucha in, because I found out that kombucha actually will regenerate the skin cells very quickly.
Really?
Yes.
I'm already interested in your kombucha. I just thought I'd throw that out there. You might have a sale after this. So that's interesting. That's amazing. So now, do you do is it like a cleanser or a moisturizer for the skin? I heard you say something about skincare.
I have a eye face cream. I have 2 facial scrubs. And the interesting thing about it is my nighttime scrub actually contains shungite powder.
Wow, that's amazing.
Which is antimicrobial.
Microbial.
Am I saying that right?
I never say that word right, but you're as close as I'm going to be. So I'll take that. That's amazing. That's amazing. And, you know, ladies, I want to invite all of you. I'll put my link up to my Facebook groups in here, but you're all invited to come and post your businesses at any of my groups. And I don't know why. When she was talking, I don't know. I just realized I should be sharing this with you. So I'm going to put it in here. So I'm going to now, and Joyce, by the way, thank you so much. That's amazing. And we're going to definitely talk more about that as we go along, because I feel like when we talk about spiritual things, we always think about stuff inside of us, but we don't think about how we can use products and infuse those products with our spiritual intentions, and then have those use those products on our skin, and how it does make a difference. That is something that even in my sacred soul alignment work, we do teach that we can charge different things with this energy, this power. So the fact that you're using that with your products, I love that. You're ahead of the game with a lot of people. They're not doing that. So amazing. Let me see, add and stuff. This is a long, long link there, but that's one group. We have about 14,000 people in that group. And so if any of you ladies want to post in there, it'll get to lots of eyes. But I just wanted to share that because I think each one of you are on these amazing paths that are unique to you, but are also very helpful to other people. You can change lives with the work that you're doing. And so I really, would love to have you guys to be a part of all of the things I do. Actually, it's amazing. So one of the things I wanted to do, I'm actually biting at the bit to get back to it. I have to get back. What was the one with the Clarissa? Was that you with the prana healing? Tell us more about this pranic heal. Is it pranic or prana?
It's pranic. So
Pranic.
Yep, or pranic. Some people say, I say pranic, but
Okay.
so it is from the root word of prana, like you said, the life force energy around us.
Mhm.
And it was actually it's kind of a bunch of practices, energy work practices that have been around for thousands of years that the person who brought it all together, Master Choa Koksui, he has passed on, but he was actually an engineer. So he has a very scientific, or had a very scientific, logical mind. And he was looking at it from the aspect of, we know that energy exists and we know you can't get rid of it. So what can you do to kind of manipulate it to better our health and better our spirituality? So everything that he so first of all, he tested out every protocol. There's very strict protocols that you have for each type of illness or emotional disturbance or psychological issue. And it works with, cleansing energy from chakras, cleansing energy from your auras, and replacing it with positive healing energy. The thing that I like about pranic healing specifically for me is that you use the pranic energy around us. So it's not my energy that I'm using to help heal someone. So if my energy is a little off kilter or whatever, I'm using the energy from around me. And it's actually funny because I took my first class and my husband is very skeptical, or was very skeptical. And my daughter at the time was 6 months old, I think. And she had these lesions on her torso. And we had gone to the doctor 3 or 4 times, and the doctor didn't really know what caused it, but she ended up having a staph infection. And that was on a Friday that we found out. So they put it in the order for her medication. And Sunday I had my weekend class, and Sunday at the end of class, I said to my teacher, I said, hey, would you mind looking at this and healing it for me just till we can get her medication tomorrow? And she had literal holes in her little tiny torso from these
Oh my gosh.
that were happening. And by the next day, she did one healing. We hadn't given her medication at all yet, no antibiotics, nothing. By that Monday, when we went to go get her prescription and go back to the doctor to get checked out, the welts were just flaky skin. You know how if you have your skin is healing, it was just kind of flaky skin that had been new skin that was healed over.
Wow.
So, and that's just that's just my personal experience. There's millions of miraculous healings that you can read about and research on your own. But that kind of really convinced my husband. He's now a pranic healing practitioner as well.
Wow.
And he is a very skeptical, not spiritual person. So for him to do it. And another thing I really enjoy about pranic healing is that to go up the ranks to a master level, or even to teach it, you have to go through a really rigorous process. You can't it's not one of those things that you can proclaim I'm a pranic healer. I'm a pranic healer just because you maybe read a book. And I'm not it's one of because they protect, they're very protective of their names. So it's not, you know what I mean? It's a whole thing. It's like Reiki. You can't just announce hey, I'm a Reiki healer, I'm a
Right.
whatever.
Right.
And so all the masters of pranic healing have to go through the ranks, and they have to show miraculous healings in order to be considered a master. And there are not very many masters in the world right now. So you have to heal cancer that's, you know, terminal cancer. You have to heal like, you know, illnesses that are chronic or genetic or things like that. So it's a lot of the masters are also, there's one who's the head of a NICU, a neonatal unit. There's one who was a former nun. So it's just, you know, people, all different mindsets kind of can
It's amazing.
benefit from it. So
I think what's amazing about what's going on with the healing world in general is when I was a little girl, I can openly tell the story now because now I'm not afraid. But when I was little, I had cut off my pinky toe. I was dancing and I don't know if it was a knife or I was going around the corner. I just sliced it straight and it was a straight slice. They took me to the hospital. They sewed it back on. And it started turning black. So my mom went to fiddle with it and it fell off. And underneath was a new toe that grew in like a shoot. Now at that time, I mean, I was born in 60. I'm old, you guys. I might not look it. I'm almost 60 years old. This is actually going into my 60th year. So, but at that time, my mom was afraid. She didn't want to tell anyone. She thought they'd do experiments on me, you know, like I was alien or something. And so it was like this hush hush thing, like Libby grew back a toe. Oh, she grew back a toe. Like, you know, but now we're seeing that this healing is universal. It's happening everywhere under all different types of healing modalities. It doesn't, I mean, I did it on my own. I was a baby. I mean, children, I think we have unique healing gifts that people don't talk about those healing properties. I had another experience. I keep showing my chest. So I was burned. I was burned from here down to here. And it looked like black charred chicken, like it was blackened. Okay. And so I was a Mormon and I went to church, and I'm not pushing Mormonism. As you can tell, I'm a spiritual person now, but they took me aside and they did this prayer. It was all these men and they, you know, the oil and the healing. And I do think it is about the energy, not the religion. It's about the faith. It's about the energy. But these men, they laid on me and I believed and I prayed and we all prayed. And that was a Sunday. I think it might have been Monday or Tuesday. I was sitting at my office desk and it started itching and I just started to, and a piece of it just came off. It literally started peeling off. Can you tell? Not at all. Not at all. Oh, sorry. Not at all. And I think that's the amazing thing about healing. I hope they do more research into healing and the amazing aspects of healing and how we can each learn how to channel it in a way so that we can actually use it in a directed way. I never knew, I still don't know how to harness it in that powerful way like that, but I know it works. I know healing is real. So I just wanted to share that and just thank you, Clarissa, for sharing about the pranic and the masters. I hear a lot of people say they're Reiki masters. So I wonder if that's the same type of, no, whole different thing. I also had seen there is a movement, there was a push to regulate Reiki healing. I don't know if you guys heard about that. There was, I had just gotten a petition like to sign. I think it was over on the eastern states, like maybe New Hampshire somewhere. They were pushing to regulate Reiki. You've heard about this, right?
yeah, because well, I live in Maine, so it's
okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And so basically, but it's the Reiki massage is what they're trying to regulate. They're trying to regulate it as a massage practice. So you have to be licensed by the state and you have to be like, have, you know, license number and stuff to practice. Because I believe Florida does that already. So I don't think as far as I know, it was just if you were doing the hands-on Reiki massage, and not just the energy work, but I could be wrong because I don't practice Reiki, so I didn't look, you know,
Oh
far as-
yeah. I just know there was just this huge outcry, like save us. Like I don't know how many Reiki healers are out there, but I guess it was very intimidating for Reiki healers to have this bill being pushed. I think they wanted to do it nationally. So just interesting how everything is regulated. Even energy healing is regulated now. Everything. It's amazing. So even the work that you do, ladies, just protect your work, because if it becomes mainstream, it can be almost captured, right? Held in captivity. And I think some of these things are special gifts that we each possess. So they shouldn't really be held back in that way. But that's my personal opinion. So I want to ask each of you a personal question, because I want to hear from each of you again. So I want to hear, what is your most amazing, I don't know, I don't want to say spiritual event, but just something in your life that you know that something spiritual happened. I'm going to start with you, Allyn. Allyn, I want to say it right. What would you say is that moment in your life that you knew you were spiritually awakened in some way?
I would say when I would fall out of the habit. How do I know I'm spiritually awakened? It was actually that spiritual awakening is very anticlimactic. And part of forcing myself to practice, to be from the perspective of my soul versus my mind, is that I have had a whole track record of my whole life living from my mind and my thoughts. And so once I had built endurance, once I had built my nervous system's endurance, my heart built endurance to be able to handle the energetic beingness that I was, I would blip out of it when I'm busy or I experience pain, or if I'm in, if I don't bring myself back after healing sessions with people, or consult sessions with them, I would be essentially not myself. I would be somewhere else. And noticing how different the gap is of who I am when my soul's not running the show, it's not the captain, versus when I was. And even though it's annoying and frustrating, I'm like, oh, I slacked off again, or, I'm like, oh, wait, I'm able to spot the difference. I don't have the tolerance for it anymore like I used to. It's not a normal thing anymore. I was like, I guess this is it. I mean, I don't know that it's amazing. It's like that saying they say, before awakening, you chop wood, carry water. And so after you awaken, you chop wood and carry water. Like life goes on. There's still work to do, and I was like, all right, well, get over yourself then and keep going.
I love that.
So I would say that's it.
That's amazing. I wanted to ask you this one thing because I'm nosy. How in the world did you figure out how to get a movie made? What is there any advice that you would give to anyone who wants to go that path?
Oh God. Honestly, I have PTSD from it. I suspect I'll be making another, but I've just been refusing. I get scripts weekly. They're great.
Oh,
scripts,
wow.
But I'm like, okay, it takes, I was brand new, still am brand new. I'm not like, I don't have many titles under my belt, but if I was to look at the formula of what worked, it was based on, it was part of that man's soul's mission that while he was here and the time left that he had, that this had to happen, right? I'm essentially your proverbial CEO. Even though I'm very woo-woo, I'm very much a CEO. And that is what a producer does, is be able to congregate ideas, skills together in a concentrated amount of time. Overnight, you have a team of 100 people trying to work together in a span of 90 days, right? And thinking of top to bottom, where they're going to stay and live, and how they're going to eat, how they're going to rest, how they're going to even get to the location, to get to that point was like 6.5 years. And it was a lot of asking over and over. I mean, asking over and over, and just enduring all the fake yeses and the no's that were like, you're nuts, it's never going to happen, you've never even made a movie, there's only 2 banks that fund movies in Hollywood, and we're not telling you who it is, they're never going to look at you because you're not even in the industry, right? So you ask and 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 ask. And you just keep asking. And it wasn't the thing I was focused on. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I have a lot. I had a publishing house. I had Secret Knock going at the same time I became a mother.
Right.
And so I have many projects. I had a full consulting business running, but I knew that was one of those things that was on my plate. And so when I would listen every morning, be like, what needs to be done today? If that popped up, I would go do something about it that day.
And I love when you said when you listen to what comes in, like, because sometimes I feel like the words of what to do comes out of nowhere, doesn't it?
Yes.
Like when you're inspired,
Yeah.
and you don't realize, oh, that's a divine inspiration.
Yeah.
Like coming back and doing this again, even though I didn't really finish everything last year. It's like I have to do that. And I guess maybe you felt that in your soul. You had to do that.
Well, we could do it on command, you know. I'm in a routine habit of like, I know I see my calendar and I see all the meetings, but I can already know who's not going to show up. I already know how people are feeling. I already know shit's going down or whatever in their lives. I'm like, probably not going to show up. That one's probably going to be late. And I go, okay, what of all the projects I have, they all each have a soul. And I go, what needs, if any of these little baby bubbles, I think of them in, what needs tending to today? And it'll show me, you know, what that
And
is.
I see you multitasking. I see it. You're a busy woman. I can tell. I can tell.
Yes. Well, we are omnipresent and omnipotentiated. And so we get caught up easily in mindset and all the crap we went through and like, okay, heal quickly because there's a lot to do, you know.
Now I want to say this, ask this other question. I'm sorry, I'm so nosy.
Yeah, go for it.
But you had such a long list of accomplishments. So how in the world do you get all of that done? How do you get so much accomplished when we have such a limited amount? We all have 24 hours. What would you suggest?
I think I have a lot of friends.
Delegate.
I because I was in the event world, my network is very big, and I guess it still is. I mean, they didn't go away, but I mean, and I had a track record with them that I would say I would do what I say, and if I didn't, you would still know about it and why, and we would craft something creative together in order to make the thing happen. Like I'm very upfront with people, and so, you know, I think I just try and do right by people, and they rally for me.
In a way, it's like you're saying, you gotta have friends. You gotta have friends.
I mean, they're work friends, but they're still friends. At this point, if we're not working together, it's gonna be hard to be friends because I'm like, that's all I think about is all my little creative projects. So I hope that, you know, for them it's fun. I propose it to be fun, and if it's not, don't do it, you know. And I think for a lot of people, making a movie was like, oh, that would be fun. It would take me a bit out of the daily grind of what I'm doing, whatever it was they're doing. Yeah, I'll be on set, or I'll just sit there and I'll behave, but let me be on, you know. Funding was difficult, casting was difficult. And so, you know, you just ask. A lot of people will give you advice too about how to make a movie, and none of it is how it went down.
Yeah. One of the things you said early on was about like housing for your staff and things like that. You know, when you're thinking about making a movie, you're not thinking about where's my staff going to be while we're making the movie. You don't think about those details. So you had to go into the most minute details to make sure it worked.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, especially where are you going to put them when you're filming in the desert? There's nothing around for 100 miles. What do you do?
Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's a lot more in depth than it looks when you just see the finished product. So it's applause to you, hats off to you for accomplishing what you've done.
It wasn't all me. I mean, honestly, my son's father, the whole production, you know, I mean, honestly, it was them.
Incredible. So Bernadette, I'm going to ask you the same question. What would you say was that moment or that pivotal thing that started your spiritual awakening?
It's hard to say because I've been like this my whole life. I was resistant a good part of my, I guess from like 18 till I was about 25, very resistant. But yeah, I knew that I was different when I was about 5 years old, when the Catholic priest showed up to perform an exorcism. And my guides are like, shh, just watch the TV. Yeah, that I knew. I'm like, from that moment on, I knew that the world I lived in, that other world that was much more pleasant than the human world, was to be kept sacred and secret. So I got very good at a very young age to have conversations, have visions play out without anyone knowing it was happening. When I was little, I thought everybody saw. I'm like, you can't see it, you don't hear it, what, you know? And when you get in trouble and get beat for it, and then the priest comes, you know, you don't do that anymore.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't find out till I was 30. How old was I? Almost 37. When my dad came to live with me, that my grandmother, his mom, was a healer and a psychic from Hawaii. That our background, like she brought it forth from the Philippines. And
Okay.
yeah, then I found out, and I'm like, that would have been helpful to know when I was little. Thanks. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I just want to say, you guys, for some reason, my internet was a little bit unstable there for a moment. So we might have just kind of blinked out. But thank you so much for that, Bernadette. And, you know, the funny thing is, my heart goes out to you that you had to experience that they put you through that, because what you experienced was maybe different than what they thought you should be experiencing.
I'm closer to your era than you like. I'm 55.
Oh,
right?
okay. So yeah,
going on 56.
Yeah.
So back in those days, it was not accepted. It was looked down upon, and people were afraid of it.
I said
So.
that to someone just the other day, I think in one of my own shows. I said, nowadays you hear people talk about astrology, tarot, Reiki, all kind of things. And back then they would laugh at you if you said anything about astrology or tarot. Or,
You got put into a mental hospital.
or mental health. Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's just think back 100 years. They were, you know, witches. They would lock them up, or 100 years before they would burn them.
Mhm.
So we've come a long way.
Let's keep it that way.
Yeah, we've come a long way. We really have, because that would have been, I just feel bad that you had to experience that. And
it's all part of soul training. I mean, you know, when you look back and it's not like, okay, you have these gifts, you're spiritually awakened, and that's that. Like, I don't want to give anyone that idea. I had training, a lot of training since a very young age. And I was lucky that spirit kept me separate, because I kept wanting, can't you bring me someone to teach me? And they're like, no, we don't want you tainted. They kept saying that to me, which annoyed me, especially into my teens and 20s. But then everything picked up. Once I hit 25, a lot of stuff happened. And between 25 and 30, before I went professional with and out into the world with my gifts, I've been doing this now for almost 23 years. I've had my business. But before that, they kept, like, I had to study, I had to meditate, I had to eat a certain way. I wasn't sleeping. I staggered my sleep. There was one point they taught me, if you stagger your sleep, the line between your waking life and the spiritual realm will go away. So I would study for 2 hours, sleep for an hour, study for 2 hours, sleep for an hour. And in the middle of all of that, I was doing client calls, doing readings and healing work. Yeah. And that was a number of years when I was in my late 20s, early 30s. I mean, I had a whole corporate career. I had a whole horse training. Like, I did the material world. And at 30, they're like, that's it. We're moving you out of San Diego and you're going to the mountains of Colorado. I'm like, no.
Oh, you said no.
Like, and I had a 5-year warning, but
That's hilarious.
I'm like, why would I move from the sun to the mountains and I know nothing about snow? And so I went sight unseen with a little kid. I was a single mom, 2 horses and a dog, sold off my ranch and went, and my life changed. And I just fully on the path. That's it. Isolated from everyone. And that was my work from that point forward. But it's still, to this day, I just got done with a huge study of things still studying, still working through things, still trying to understand the mysteries. And I don't think even 10 lifetimes we can absorb and understand all of what's out there.
It's amazing. I think about when I was younger, when I got into astrology, I just remember I was in my bedroom a lot with the door shut. And it was almost like I was just sending out, like the whole world disappeared. And for years, I felt like it was something that was only happened to me. But as I've gotten older, I realized we each seem to have our spiritual awakening moment. Yeah, the people around me weren't spiritually awakened, but individuals placed throughout the world were being spiritually awakened. And I think not all of us are called, but those who are. And I think we each have a different path, but they all kind of merge together in that one space that we've been touched spiritually. We're doing it from our hearts. We're doing it from our souls, from a different place than for money or for a peer or popularity or whatever. And I don't think people get that sometimes. It kind of goes
They're
right past
there.
them. Yeah.
They're getting there. I always see like a vision when I look out at the world and what's happening with every soul. It's like they always show me a tapestry. Even in the Akashic records, people will say, I see a library. I'll always see a tapestry. And so when I go to pull the thread of that person's many lifetimes, it's a thread tied in with the rest of the tapestry. So at different times, our thread is pulled for a different reason. And it's amazing to watch how many lights are coming on in that tapestry. It's like, oh my God, this is good. Let's do this. Yeah.
Beautiful. Now, Clarissa, I'm gonna skip over you for a second because we talked about the prana. Joyce, I wanted to talk to you because when I would mention about the what they did to witches, and you mentioned you were a green witch, and for years I was a white witch. I'm not with a coven or anything, but I started doing that very young. I mean, with you and your herbs and all that you do, specifically, they were hunting green witches like you. How do you even deal with that? And the spiritual awakening, what created or what happened that made you decide to come to that place that you were going to be a green witch?
Well, I want to say for a long time, I wouldn't even accept that term witch. I called myself a light worker. But a lot of people around me, my customers, would call me a witch. They would call me a witch doctor. And I had realized when I was very young, maybe like 5 or 6 years old, I would take a bucket of water and I would put rocks in it and dandelions. And I would just let it sit, like to just infuse the energy into that water. And I had no clue what I was doing. I had went to an energy worker and she had told me, she said, you were a witch in a previous life and you're still a witch. And I was like, no, witch carries a stigma. I'm not a witch. I'm not going to go there. But I finally just very recently, within the past couple of months, have accepted that is who I am. It's what I do. It's with the herbs, it's with the crystals, it's taking them and it's infusing them, their energies. And see, that's the thing. There's such a misconception about witches. They think like we wear these hats and have these pointy noses and these children or something. I'm sorry, I have 4 kids and they're all here. I didn't eat not one of them.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's funny too because probably about 3-4 years ago, we were all together for Thanksgiving, and usually one of my sons is responsible for bringing games over, and we sit and play games. Well, he forgot them, so he pulled up this app on his phone that was like, who's most likely to? So one of the questions comes up, who's most likely to be called a witch? And they're all like, Mom. My own kids are like, Mom. But, it's all about helping people. I don't want to harm anybody. It's about helping people. And and also at a very young age, I could feel energy. I could walk into the room and I could feel the energy. I could feel bad energy, and I didn't understand what it was for so long as to why I was feeling like this. And sometimes it would make me feel very uncomfortable. Sometimes it would actually make me feel scared. And then I probably, within the past 2 years, no, it's been more than that, like 4 or 5 years, have realized that that's what an empath does. They feel the energy from other people. And I always tell people, you can't lie to an empath, because we have a BS meter that just like, no, that's not true. Sorry.
Yeah, dude, we can feel things, right? The
Yep.
empaths feel things. You know, it's amazing when you're saying that. Years ago, I used to have this dream of being burned at the stake. So I always felt like I must have, been a witch. And years later, I realized that they call that the witch's wound, that there's actually something called the witch's wound, which is something a lot of spiritual, those who are in spiritual world seem to have a memory of being burned at the stake or ostracized or isolated because they were termed witches. So when Bernadette said about how what happened to her with the priest, and then what you were saying about most likely voted to be a witch, I'm like, I think we still carry some of that witch's wound. A lot of those of us who are spiritual.
I think I believe that if you were a witch in a previous life, you're going to always be a witch. And I had a guest on one time, and we were talking about the witchy stuff. And she had told me, I was telling her how I had a fear of drowning, and I couldn't figure out why, because I never had an experience like that or saw anybody. And but I did a past life regression, and at one point I had been taken by the indigenous people. And whatever I did, I guess I was a rebel then too, because whatever I did, I really ticked off the chief. And he was like sticking my head in the water, like, holding my head down in the water. And so I thought that was it. And then she said, you're on the Titanic and you drowned. And she said, you were also burned at the stake, but before that you were waterboarded. So she was like, that might be another reason.
Wow, that's amazing. It's incredible. I just think it's amazing whenever people talk about the past life experiences in general, but the fact that someone said that you were burned at the stake, that's crazy. Amazing.
I've been here many times, many times.
Yeah. And I sense the witchy poo-ness about you, just so that you know. It's funny because whenever I do this, I meet so many of you wonderful women, and I realize that we're all on this path, and we're all connected in some way anyway, right? But somehow our energies are kind of, we find each other and we get together for a moment and we get to talk about it. But there's just like this invisible line of inner knowing that we all have. We sort of feel it, like we know there's something different out there. There's some knowledge, some energy that we want to know or grasp, or I always feel like that's the pervading message under most of my guests, is that they've got this inner wisdom. So Clarissa, I just wanted to ask you, I know you had mentioned about your child and with the pranic healing, but was there a particular moment in particular that you had a spiritual awakening that kind of set you off on this course?
So yeah, actually it was, I mean, similar to what you hear many psychic mediums or spiritual people say, my whole life I had these weird things happen and like saw weird things, and kind of I used to draw people a lot, and now knowing what I know, I was actually drawing the people that were coming to me mediumistically. And I didn't understand that. I would just draw, and I drew all these people. But what really happened for me was my oldest daughter was born. She's 5. And this was the thing that really launched me forward, was that my grandfather had been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. He was 91 when that happened, and he had always had back problems because he was in World War II, so they just kind of chalked it up to that. So by the time they diagnosed him, it was very far advanced, and we found out probably in like January, I want to say, and he died in June. But my daughter was born with a very rare genetic, it's not a disease, it's a genetic condition, I guess, called golden heart syndrome. And because of that, she was born without her left ear. And that syndrome can have a lot of, it can be the signal that you have organ issues, like if the organs didn't develop properly, the heart didn't develop properly in a lot of them. So what happened was my daughter was born 6 weeks early because I got preeclampsia. So she was taken 48 hours after she was born. She was taken to a different hospital that had a better NICU. And she was taken there because she was underweight and she didn't have her brown fat and all this stuff. And they also wanted to do testing to make sure all her organs and her brain and everything had developed because she doesn't have her ear. So she was born and we got out of the NICU 10 days after. So she was 12 days old when we got out. The reason I'm saying all this is I got to see my grandfather. If she had been born on her due date, they would never have met because he died a few days after her due date, and we would have been in the NICU either way because of her ear. So he got to hold her twice.
Wow.
So for me, that was just kind of like, that can't be a coincidence. There was a reason they met, and I was very close with my grandfather. So that kind of was my like, like there's no coincidences. This like there has to be something bigger. And I always believed there was, but I never had any, like, I didn't grow up religiously. I didn't grow up like, with a formula of what to believe or what faith was or anything like that. So when that happened, I just started, thinking about things a lot, and then ended up I wanted to know a lot and know about different religions and beliefs and stuff. So that was really what,
It's amazing. It's funny. Sometimes it takes a life event like that, something, and suddenly that's it. We're changed, and it's never quite the same. So thank you, ladies, so much for sharing your actual spiritual experiences with us, because I believe those moments they're life-changing when people hear them. So there's something I like to do before I leave. First, I want to make sure I have all of your websites. If you stick them in chat, then I can have them in chat, and I can make sure I stick them on our YouTube link, and make sure everyone who sees this video actually gets to go to your websites, because I want to make sure I pump you guys up. And that way I can also use your websites on all of the promotions, because I'm going to promote you guys everywhere. Just know that. So there's something I like to do before I close out on my shows. And that is to guess the astrology signs of my guests. So we're going to start with Allyn. It's hard for me to tell because I love all the greenery behind you. And I love the outfit you have on. It's nice and light. And you have such a happy little face. I don't know why I'm getting a couple of different vibes here. My first thought was Aries or Gemini, but then I thought perhaps Libra. Tell me, what sign are you?
You're going to laugh because all my, ascending moon, and what's the third one? Ascending moon, sun.
It's sun. Yes.
It's all the same. It's Gemini.
Gemini. Gemini. It's all at Gemini. Your countenance is Gemini, very much so. And I just look at her, look at the background. She's surrounded herself. She's up in the air.
I am with the water, actually, with the ocean right here.
So beautiful. Very much Gemini. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so Bernadette, you are next. You are next. And she's a little bit harder to tell because do you see the dark wall behind her? And I'm thinking, wait a minute. And she's got the cream and she's got the dog. I don't know. I've listened, and what you went through, I kept thinking, is this child either a Scorpio or a Capricorn? Tell me what sign you are, or Pisces. What are you?
So I'm a Sagittarius sun, Aries rising.
Aries rising. Okay.
And then Pisces moon.
Pisces. I don't know what that Pisces was. I could feel some of that Pisces.
I have a lot of Pisces, like Pisces moon, Pisces Saturn. I have a lot of Pisces.
And if you have Aries rising, the Pisces is at home in the 12th house. That's why it's picking up the Pisces. Yeah. Yeah. And what you went through, though, that was a little thing. That was nothing compared to, that's why I wrote my memoir, because I've got to read
that was nothing compared to what the rest of it I went through.
I've got to read up on you. It's amazing. So Clarissa, you're next. And I'm not sure I'm right. I've been looking at you and I'm thinking, okay, first thought was Cancer. And then I think, okay, Leo or Virgo. What are you?
So I'm actually right on the cusp of Cancer and Leo. My birthday is actually July 23rd.
Yeah.
So.
Look at her little face. Look at that round face. Is that not the Cancer face? So cute. I love it. Okay, Joyce, you're next. Okay, let's see what we got here. Joyce is a little bit different because she's a witch, and she's out, but she's hiding. Now she is the one. She's another one I keep getting because look, she's got the dark and she's got the red. So my first thought was, is there a Scorpio or Capricorn around here? Or let's see what else. She's another one that gives off perhaps Pisces or Taurus. What do we got here?
I'm a Virgo. It's really funny. It's really funny that you're picking up Scorpio, because the room I'm in right now used to be my son's, and he was a Scorpio.
That's what it is. Do you see the red on the walls? I'm thinking all the scorpionic stuff behind you. That's what threw me off.
And then in the room next door was my other son, and he was a Capricorn.
So you had the Scorpios and Capricorns around you. That's hilarious. It's kind of like around you. I can feel it. And you are, now what's your actual sign? You said
Virgo.
Funny, I went to the earth sign, so I could feel the earth. You're grounded and you're into the greenery. And can I just say that's my mistake? Stop. Hold it, horses. She gave me the clue. Didn't she said she works in the herbs? Do you know that Virgos grow the weed? That was my first clue. I should have went with that first. You are the quintessential Virgo. Keep growing and making the wheat, messing in the greeneries and the gardens. So beautiful, right on the right path. Gorgeous. So you ladies, I don't know if any of you guys have any questions for me, because I've had so much fun.
I had fun guessing with you.
I always have so much fun doing that part because, you get to know people for about an hour or so, and then you're like, can I guess what they are? So, and you guys, in case you're wondering, I'm a double Capricorn with a Taurus moon. Yes, ambition. But
I picked up the Taurus.
The Taurus, yes. Yeah.
I don't even know anything about this stuff, but that's the words just kind of come in.
It's hilarious. And you guys, I just hope we stay connected. I put all my groups up there. Do join me in some of those groups so we can stay connected. And anything I can do to help promote all of you guys. As I mentioned, double Capricorn, Taurus moon. I have lots of little businesses that help to promote people online. That's what I do. So much love to you. Many blessings. And we'll be connected again because I'll reach out to you and let you know when I promote you all over the internet. Oh, my baby's calling. Let me go. Much love to you guys.
Thank you.
Much love to you, everyone. Bye.